I told you that in just 72 hours, we have witnessed the most dramatic shift in America's fight against leftist extremism in over a century. While most Americans were sleeping, President Trump last night dropped a political nuclear bomb that has radical leftists scrambling for cover. All the while, universities across the nation are finally taking action against their most radical and dangerous, destructive students. Stick with me to the very end of this video, because we're going to see how a line has been drawn in the sand for nation, culture, custom, and tradition. And for the first time in decades, that line is being enforced with the full power of the federal government, and the far left is absolutely freaking out. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness as the far left desperately tries to stop the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age that you're making happen all over the world. So if you want a front row seat on how you are changing the world in ways you never even imagined, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And don't forget, make sure to click on that link below and take a quick visit to my brand new channel, my Turley Talks Clips channel. This is a channel where you can share everything you learn on this channel, but in quick little snippets. These are short, inspiring takes that help you think clearly so you can live courageously. And since these are the first days that we've unveiled the brand new channel, I would really appreciate it if you would go on over there to subscribe and also share it with your friends and family. It would mean so much to me. So just click on that link below or search Turley Clips on YouTube. All right, let's dive right in here, gang. We are now 8 days from the most horrific, murderous act that we have yet seen committed by what President Trump is calling radical left-wing terrorism in our nation. And last night, in response to this heinous act, President Trump made the declaration that millions of patriots have been waiting for. Antifa is now officially a major terrorist organization. Taking to Truth Social, Trump announced, quote, "I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization." But here's what makes this announcement truly revolutionary. Trump didn't stop there. He's going after their funding sources. Quote, "I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices." So this means that the likes of George Soros and his network of dark money organizations are finally in the crosshairs, metaphorically speaking, of course. Now, what does this terrorist designation actually mean? Well, the legal implications are staggering. Once declared a terrorist organization, asset blocking becomes immediate. Financial institutions are legally obligated to freeze Antifa-related funds. Any material support at all, even suspected, automatically becomes a federal crime, meaning anyone providing money, goods, services, or even training faces serious prison time. Travel restrictions kick in, and the FBI's counterterrorism units are now fully mobilized against this radical network. In other words, and again, we've been saying this now for the past 8 days, the fact that Trump is now using the T word, radical left-wing terrorism, to describe the basic apparatus of the left means that he is bringing the full force of the federal government on the fundamental structure of the Democrat Party. It does appear that the Trump administration is indeed in the process of fully dismantling the basic network of the Democrat Party. I've been saying it over and over again. They have no idea what they unleashed as of last Wednesday. They have no idea what they have unleashed. And it's not just the federal government. One of the major fallouts from Charlie's assassination that the legacy media is desperately trying to hide from you is the fact that far left college students that have been celebrating Charlie's murder are getting expelled from universities all across the country. This is absolutely glorious. The ripple effects of our massive conservative cultural uprising are already transforming our educational landscape. In fact, the sheer scale and scope of disciplinary action against students right now who celebrated Charlie's assassination is Absolutely unprecedented in modern American higher education. Texas State University expelled an unnamed student within hours of Governor Greg Abbott's direct intervention after viral footage showing the individual climbing onto a campus statue declaring, "Hey, my name's Charlie Kirk," and then grotesquely reenacting the assassination by striking his neck and collapsing to the ground. Well, the only thing that now appears to be collapsing to the ground is that idiot's future. Texas Tech University followed suit by expelling 18-year-old Cameron Gazelle Booker from Dallas, who was not only kicked out of school after just grotesquely mocking Charlie, but also she was arrested for her behavior. Beyond these high-profile cases, at least a dozen faculty members and administrators across multiple universities have faced termination or suspension for their social media celebrations of Kirk's murder. Again, according to the Texas Education Agency, over 281 complaints have been filed against educators across Texas alone, with officials launching formal investigations into what Commissioner Mike Morath has called reprehensible and inappropriate content on social media, again, among educators. Make no mistake, this represents the largest coordinated crackdown on leftist extremism in our educational institutions ever, with the ripple effects extending far beyond the Lone Star State. Now, of course, you're not going to hear this from the legacy media, right? And that's, of course, because the legacy media often masquerades as objective journalism, when in reality, all they are is agenda-driven activism wrapped in the appearance of news. These narratives do not inform. They intentionally manipulate, leaving millions of people wondering, where on earth can we turn for the truth? Well, luckily, gang, there is a solution. Ground News brings together headlines from over 50,000 news sources and makes it easy to understand what's happening. But what really makes Ground News powerful is the transparency. You don't just see the stories. You see the political bias behind every source, the ownership ties, and the coverage breakdown across the spectrum. That's why over 1 million people have downloaded Ground News. Check it out for yourself at ground.news/Steve. And I have to say my favorite feature is the blind spot feed. So it shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of the aisle, but barely mentioned on the other. I mean, it's the clearest way to see media bias in action. So, for example, here's a story the left is completely ignoring. Senator Rand Paul says Dr. Fauci directed others to delete emails and must testify. Now, if true, these allegations point to a deliberate effort to conceal information during the pandemic. No wonder the left-wing media is ignoring it. Now, of course, the right overlooks stories as well. But with Ground News, you'll see the entire spectrum of who's reporting from left, right, and center, how reliable each source is, and who owns each outlet. It's everything the corporate press doesn't want you to see. So right now, you can get 40% off the Vantage plan, which gives you unlimited access to all the features that I personally use for just $5 a month. Just visit ground.news/Steve, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code. That's ground.news/Steve. Now, it's not just universities. Unfortunately, primary and secondary schools are seeing a purge of teachers who celebrated Charlie's death. So in California, several teachers have been placed on leave, while a number of school districts in Texas have fired teachers that were found to have posted incendiary comments online. And even overseas, the hammer is dropping, if you can believe it. Oxford Union's incoming student president is facing disciplinary proceedings and a vote of no confidence after over 200 Life members signed a petition that, by the way, that's 50 more than required, following his social media celebration of Kirk's murder. Swing back here to the United States, the numbers tell a very clear story. We have now seen over 300 documented cases of disciplinary action across K-12 and higher education college campuses, with new terminations and expulsions reported daily as conservative activists continue identifying celebrants of political assassination. This represents the largest coordinated response to leftist extremism in American educational history, signaling a fundamental shift in how institutions respond to the celebration of political violence. And of course, as you know, we've been reporting on this for the last several days, but the corporate sector has joined the educational purge with at least 8 major companies. We're talking NASDAQ, MSNBC, and the Carolina Panthers firing employees for mocking Kirk's assassination. We are witnessing a systematic crackdown on leftist extremism across America. Universities that were, in many ways, always the terrorist sleeper cells in our nation are finally realizing that harboring radical ideologies comes with severe consequences. The days of professors and students alike celebrating political assassinations without repercussions are over. For far too long, conservatives have played defense while radical leftists controlled the cultural and educational narrative. Charlie Kirk's assassination represents a true turning point because it finally exposed the true nature of our opposition. The mask got completely ripped off. Far from being peaceful protesters or anti-fascists, they revealed themselves to be domestic terrorists who celebrate the murder of those who dare to speak conservative truth. President Trump's Antifa designation, combined with unprecedented university disciplinary actions, signals that the era of consequence-free leftist extremism is officially over. The same movement that burned American cities during the George Floyd riots, that attacked conservative speakers on college campuses, and that celebrated the assassination of a brilliant young husband and father is finally and decisively being held accountable. Make no mistake. This is just the beginning. With Antifa officially designated now as a terrorist organization, federal resources will now be deployed to dismantle their entire network, investigate their funding sources, and prosecute their supporters. Universities that continue harboring radical extremists will lose federal funding. Students who celebrate political violence will face expulsion and career destruction. The death of Charlie Kirk was not in vain if it awakens America to the terrorist threat that has been festering in our educational institutions and our political left. The revolution against leftist terrorism has begun. Only this time, we are in it to win. Do you want to ask me your biggest questions and maybe win free merch while you're at it? Well, join my Courageous Patriot Club and be part of the uncensored Monday night Q&A, all for only $10 a month at turley.pub/club.